it's very important for especially empty nesters, but all people in general, any household, is to just uncomplicate your life. So once you've decided, what's most important to you, you gotta uncomplicate it and establish a routine.
Hi, and welcome to Beyond Empty Nest. I'm your host, Jody Silverman, speaker, mentor, and Chief Dare Officer at Moms Who Dare. Every Thursday, I'll share stories of midlife transformation, happiness tips, and dare you to see the opportunities waiting for you so that you can make this next chapter even better than the last. If you're ready to dare, I'm ready to dare with you. Let's get into today's episode. So it's been said that our outer world is a reflection of our inner world. I absolutely 100% buy into that quote. Because I don't know about any of you, but when my office is cluttered or my closet gets messy, or even if my bed is unmade, I feel very off balance, cluttered, and have a hard time focusing. Today, we have two very special guests, the co-founders of House Organized, Cris and Marisa. And they say that in a world that often feels chaotic and overwhelming, a well-organized, clutter-free living space can be a breath of fresh air. Through their company, which they co-founded in 2020 called House Organized, they have a mission to bring stress-free organization into people's lives. House Organized has not only transformed physical spaces, but also the well-being of their clients. Welcome, Cris, and welcome, Marisa, to Beyond Empty Nest.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Great
So
joining
good to
you,
be here.
Jeremy.
Yeah, this is exciting. Look, this is our first episode of the new year. We're kicking off, that whole new year, new you. What better way to kick it off than with the two of you sharing some amazing tips about living organized? First of all, everybody, get pencil and paper because we're going to give you some really good tangible tips. But first, I want to share with the audience your backstory. Who are you to each other and how this came to be? Because 2020, this is a relatively new company.
All right. So Cris and I are sisters. We're the bookends in a family of four. She's the oldest, and I'm the youngest. And we've just both always really enjoyed organizing. And so I think,
Well,
Cris,
it really does run in our family for sure. It's in our bloodline, we like to say, because pretty much up the line through our mom and her mother's mom, it's been, they're very organized people. So it's in our DNA, basically. Well, we're very organized, very structured with everything that we do in our personal life. And so we just thought, well, friends have always asked us, help us with organizing their garage or space in their home. And we decided, well, we really love it. We were both doing something completely different in the corporate world and just decided it probably would be smart to start our
start a
own
business.
company.
Yeah.
And we just love it. It's something that
Yeah.
we're passionate
It's
about.
it's fun.
Yeah.
Daring is starting a business during a pandemic.
Oh gosh.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so
All the
I'm
plans
assuming,
laid, you just thinking about it. And then we didn't know that was coming, but we were obviously doing our business plan and doing research about competitors and does it make sense? And how do we do this? And what would we offer? And yeah, that was kind of scary because then right after we launched,
Everything got shut down.
so I guess you learned the art of virtual organizing very quickly.
yeah, we pivoted, right? I mean, so
Yeah.
we,
Yeah, but the two, in a sense, and a lot of people during COVID started working from home. So then their home space became very cluttered, and it became important to declutter that space too. So
and
in a
create
way,
spaces too
yeah,
for their kids
exactly.
because everybody was working
At
from home and
home.
going to
Right. And
going
or
to school.
creating a home office too, because they were working from home. So
That's true. That's true. So I never thought about it that way, but as scary as it was, there was a whole new need for restructuring and reorganizing space in the house because like you, Chris, families that had kids at home, my husband and I, I mean, we're empty nesters. We had to find a second area. I mean, we had plenty of space to do it, but we had to make it feel
Right.
like our office. So that's
Like
so
your own
actually,
state.
see, there are the gifts in the mess. There's always gifts in the mess.
Yes,
Oh, for sure.
exactly.
For sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So the name of your company is called House Organized. And today we're talking about living organized. And I know that we're going to break this up into like three categories of living organized. So let's start with the first one, which you label simplify life. So I know that you have some really good tips on how to simplify your life. So talk into that topic right now. And I get your pens and paper ready, everybody, and take notes. All right. So go ahead. Simplify life. Like what is a way, or what do you mean when you talk about simplify life?
Well, I think one of the things is to prioritize because in this world, there's just so many things that are being thrown at you all the time. You really have to prioritize what you want the most, I
Right.
think.
Yeah. What you enjoy.
Right.
So prioritize by, yeah, enjoyment, relaxation, you know, things that bring you joy. Anything that you decide is what is your goal, but you prioritize that because if you do that, then you can develop your next steps in terms of, okay, well, I'm prioritizing being happy and living with less or whatever the case may be. And then now I'm able to say, what are my next steps? But it's very important for especially empty nesters, but all people in general, any household, is to just uncomplicate your life. So once you've decided, what's most important to you, you gotta uncomplicate it and establish a routine. We say establish a routine related to what does that look like for you individually?
The other thing too is just to not be afraid to get help for the things that you can no longer do yourself,
Or you don't wanna do.
Yeah,
It's like,
true.
"Hey, I want to be at the beach every day. I wanna take a walk. I wanna enjoy coffee with my friends." So, if that's your goal, then how do I if I've got all these tasks at home, how do I make that happen? Well, then, yeah, it's like and you don't want to do it or you can't do it. Like Marisa said, you don't, just hire someone or get some help with the tasks and things that you no longer wanna do yourself.
That makes me think about something I shared with you before we started recording. So first of all, I love prioritize as first step, because if you prioritize what matters most to you, first, second, third, then you will have a better idea and you will be in a better position to make better decisions based on
Absolutely.
that thing. So your three tips: prioritize, leads to uncomplicate your daily living and establish a routine. And you can't do that if you don't know what's most important to you. And then
Right.
getting help with tasks, that's what you just triggered. So, when I decided to launch a podcast, I knew just from friends who have a podcast that you need to edit it, you need to write show notes, you need to get it up on all the platforms, and you need to create graphics. And there was no way I could launch a podcast and do all that myself and enjoy it. And it was a priority for me to have a podcast.
Yeah.
So I put my head down and I said, how much will it cost me to hire a team to help me manage my podcast? And it freed me, and hiring the team freed up my time to then do the things to help me make this both
Right.
fulfilling and profitable.
Right. And the thing is what people need to realize too is you don't have to like quick right now decide. Really give it some thought.
Mhm.
Think about it. What are the things in your life, again, that bring you joy or that are most important? And it may be a struggle between one or two things. Can you make both of those things happen or three things? Or do I really need to dig a little bit deeper, take the time to make that decision? So think about it, contemplate it. Don't feel like, okay, I got to do that now so that I can get the help. It's like, make sure you're making the right decision
Yeah.
about what things are most important to you. And that could shift a little bit and change, but
I
over
think I
time.
think one of the biggest challenges I hear from women is the thought of hiring someone to help them tidy up or clean up the house. If it wasn't something that they grew up experiencing around
Mm,
them, they have a hard time saying, well, I'm
yeah.
Yeah.
capable of doing it. I should be doing it. And it's interesting because I have a 28-year-old and she recently suffered an injury, and her boyfriend who she lives with was away. She couldn't clean, she couldn't do anything. And she called me and said, Elle, you can do this. You can once this month, you can have somebody come in and help you clean your apartment. It's okay. You
Yeah.
have the means to do it and you need the
Right.
help. And I
Yeah.
had to talk her through the mental, like she's 20, she's like, Mom, I'm 28. I should clean my own apartment. No, should. You can't. And I'm
Exactly.
not I'm not driving 3 hours to clean your apartment. So,
Sorry, dude.
Yeah.
But yes,
yeah, we have to ask for help and you deserve.
absolutely. And so it's the same premise across.
Yeah, love that. So simplify your life by prioritizing what you want to do and enjoy most, and then uncomplicate your daily living by establishing a routine. Routine is big. And then get help with tasks that you can no longer do or that you don't even care to do. It's okay. Giving yourself
Yeah.
that permission. I love that.
One thing that we on the routine piece, just
Yeah.
to elaborate a little bit, I think too, that helps people like live with less stress too, because you're establishing a routine instead of it's chaos. Like tomorrow, I don't know what I want to do. If you establish set like, hey, I'm going to go take my walk every morning. I'm going to drink my coffee. It sounds crazy and it sounds like maybe
Oh,
too OCD, but really as you get older, it's better that you've got that routine, even younger people, but it's like, I've set that routine. Yes, there's going to be events and things that happen that I'm going to have to put in my schedule,
yeah.
but I'm creating a routine. I eat dinner at 6 o'clock or whatever that case may be so that you can plan your
Yeah.
your daily activities around that routine
Right.
is really super helpful and
It
less
is.
stressing for people.
And you know what? There's research based. There's research done on how you start your morning routine and having routines. And it doesn't mean that every once in a while, you deviate, but how you start your day will set the tone for the
Mhm.
rest of your day. It
For the
can set
rest.
the tone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Good
Yeah.
point. Good point, Chris. All right. So now we're going to talk about the second part of living organized, which is the one that you hear most people wanting to ask help for is they don't realize that not prioritizing is a big step, but decluttering your belongings. Decluttering. It's so huge. So huge. So talk a little bit into that, Marisa.
Right. Well, you really want to try to pare down on everything that you have and basically just use your essentials. I mean, or pare down to what you need essentially. And that can be clothes, it can be, I mean, it can be a variety of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah,
Trying to
like
think. I mean, even to what you have in your garage. I mean,
yes, memorabilia. It's like
right.
Christmas decor or seasonal decor. It could be, like, hey, it's like, oh, we have all these things that we used when the kids were here.
Right.
But, it's like, do we, if you're not putting all that stuff up again and you downsized actually into a smaller home or something, it's like,
Do we really need all these
yes,
Right.
Christmas
Well,
decorations or Halloween decorations or
right.
what
equipment or whatever it is?
dishes. I mean,
Yeah.
it could go so deep with so many things, no matter what. It's paring down, living with the basics and essentials. You don't have to have your mother's china. Maybe that's something that you can, but I mean, sometimes people are hanging on because they feel bad, like giving it away, but there might be someone who's would love it and enjoy it and use it. Or it just, yeah,
Yeah.
it's important to, and we mentioned memorabilia. So
Yeah.
it's important too to you give your kids their memorabilia. So there's no reason
For you
you're
to be
hang
holding
right.
onto it in your garage for
No, it's
Let
true.
yeah.
So
And
my
have it, let them go through it, let them do what they want with it.
so to speak to that, my husband and I, we're not downsizing, but I said, well, let's just start decluttering in
Mhm.
our house and lightening the load in the house. So when the day comes, I'm ready to move. And we did for a whole year, we would like let's go down and hit the basement again. And we took all of our kids' memorabilia, 'cause I had boxes, their baby blankets and all this stuff from elementary school. And what we do is I pared it down to the things that I loved most about in their memory box. And each one of them has 2 boxes. I know neither one of them are going to want them, but they each have 2 boxes. And there will
Yeah.
be a time when I say to them, it's time to come and look. Do you want these or not? And then I'll toss them and I'll be okay to toss them.
And you'll
But
be
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, and sometimes it is a gradual step. So like you
yeah,
said, you pared it down first. You weren't ready to
yeah,
totally give it to them, or you pared it down, and then that next step in 2 or 3 years or 5 years is gonna be easier. But the generation today, they just don't hang
they don't
on
want
t
it.
at
No,
all. They don't want it.
Exactly.
They don't
no,
want
they
it.
don't.
So
And they're
Right.
not jumping into their first homes as quickly as we did either.
no,
They're in
exactly.
apartments, they're small, they don't have space. So
Right.
pare down basic living essentials. We did that when we did our kitchen. I got rid of a lot of serving dishes.
Yeah.
I saved more serving dishes.
I was just gonna say, if you're an empty nester, maybe you're not cooking, these huge meals anymore. So you don't need as many appliances and you don't need as many things. Maybe you're going out to eat more.
Yeah.
So that's a good
Yep.
place to pare down on
And
items.
we say basically less is better.
Exactly. Yeah.
It creates less stress, less chaos, and you're living more joyfully because you don't have all these things, around you. You just are the things that are essential and most important to you, and it's okay. And it's a process. It takes time, but do it because you're gonna feel instantly, like you said,
So
you
much.
you were like, oh, we addressed the memory
Oh,
or the kitchen. Just
yeah.
take it a step at a time, or a room or a space at a time. And, then you're gonna feel already from that. It's like, okay, I didn't do a
Weight
full house.
lifted.
When
Yes.
I open up a kitchen cabinet and I know that I use everything in that cabinet and there's still space in the cabinet, it feels lighter. And just knowing my basement is. And the other thing that you say that is so true, because I still have my parents. My parents are divorced. So I have my mom, my stepfather, my father. And your last point is that you do make it easier for your family when you are gone.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. It's important to think about that. It's like a sad thing, or it's like, someone would say it's morbid or whatever. You don't want to talk
It's
about that.
true. It's a
But
necessary conversation.
it's
And
a
it's
necessary
true.
conversation to have about, do you want your family to have to go through all this stuff? And now there's people all over the spectrum,
Right.
what we would consider a hoarder versus somebody who, has simplified, but you just don't want your family to be stuck with making all these decisions or just dealing with all this
Yep.
stuff,
Yeah.
So,
It's true. So you're going to declutter your belongings. You're going to pare down to the basic, most important living essentials. We're going
mhm,
to give our kids the options to have their memorabilia or out it goes. And the other part we didn't mention is their important documents. I have a little safe that's in our house and it has all their birth certificates and their social security cards. And I'm like, you know what? This holiday season, I'm going to make them each a nice little envelope and I'm going to hand
give
it
it.
over to them
Yes, yes.
and dare
Yeah.
them to be the keeper of their own important documents. And then just less is better. I love that you say it. Live with less stress and chaos with greater peace and joy in your space. And it's true. You don't know what you don't know. Try it. Even just start with your junk drawer. When that is done, even though it's closed, this feeling of lightness comes over you, knowing that when you
Yeah.
open that drawer,
Yes.
yeah, love it.
Promise,
Yes.
promise.
Yeah.
Yep.
They will see. And then it almost catches on. Then it's like, okay, I want to do more. I want to do
Yes.
more,
It's
which is
addicting.
nice because you definitely will get a sense
Yeah.
of just lightness and greater joy and peace of mind.
Yep. All right. Now the third category is creating organizing systems. And I find that like yes, decluttering is what everybody says they want and they say they struggle with. I struggle with systems because you need a
Yeah.
system if it's going to be something that's sustainable. So you talk about creating organizing systems. What are some of the systems that you've helped your clients with?
Um, well, in a home, we just make sure that everything has a place, and whether it's a bin or a drawer, and then we typically like to label those items. That way they always know where they need to put
Things. It's a system.
things.
It's like
Yeah.
we create a system for them, a functional system. So
Yeah.
Right.
when we attack, let's say whether it's a garage or a kitchen, like, do you cook? So we make sure things are in places, like all the cups and the flatware and the plates or, or drinking glasses are all like kind of in a row or in a
in an
certain category.
area or in
I
Right.
a,
mean, it
yeah.
makes
So
sense. It makes sense as you're moving through
Yes.
that room.
functionally
With how
makes
you
sense
function.
and categories are together.
Mm.
So once we do like to do a lot of sorting and then separating so that clients can make decisions about what they're going to purge or they're going to donate when they're paring down or, this doesn't have a matching lid anymore, or I had 10 drinking glasses and now I'm down to 2, I need to buy more. It helps them make those kinds of decisions.
When they
But then
see everything
when
laid out.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then we just set up a system. So the categories are all together. That's important. So when we say systems, it could be whatever. Your categories are together, a bin, a container, a canister, a basket, I don't know, a bag, whatever that's labeled that says this is where. So once you've created the system, like Marisa said, you're
You know where, yeah, you label it and then you know where to put it away.
Right, right. So it's an
You
you know
ongoing.
don't
where
put
it's
it
at,
back.
where,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like,
You also talk about organizing systems with respect to activities, calendars, documents.
very important.
Yeah. I mean, it is really good to create lists. I'm a big proponent of making lists of
She's
things.
the
Yeah, I know.
overlist. She's like the maximum OCD on list, but it's super important.
yeah. I mean,
Like when you say organize your activities
no,
and
if I don't
calendar,
write something down, it's lost.
me too. I write everything down. But when you talk about organizing your activities and calendar your events, that's about like what I mean, probably what I'm hearing Marisa say is what I do. Even if somebody, like if a friend tells me, I'm going on vacation, my really good friend who I talked to says I'm going on vacation. I'm like, when I go to my calendar really fast and I put in there, you know, Marisa on vacation, this is so that I know.
Right. And
Right.
it could be written. Like Marisa likes to still write. And I do write a lot of things down too in our note. Like we have notebooks that we keep our notes because we're just organized that way. But you can put it in your phone. It's like whatever works for you personally. But it's important to, like we were saying in the first step, you're prioritizing what's most important to you in your life and what brings you the greatest joy. Then it's like making sure that you're writing down your routine because, I mean, somebody could get sick or somebody has to step in to help you. It also helps to kind of set up your routine so someone can say, "Oh, this is she usually, goes for coffee with Susie or, or her group or whatever the case may be." And or, I mean, this goes further because kind of we're saying categorize or not categorize, but write your list related to events and activities. But the next step is also who are your friends list, your contacts, your medications. And again, for older people, it could be more forgetful. I mean, I'm getting more forgetful. So it's like you want to have you want to
Me
have all the
too.
you want to have all these things written down.
And
So
in
it's like
one place too, not in like a couple different places in
No,
your phone.
one place.
Yeah, all in one central location.
and that
That's
somebody
very, very important.
and that somebody knows where, like your
Exactly.
Well, yeah.
your kids or your friend or your neighbor knows where those things are.
Right.
But yeah, the medications you take, your friends list. Yes, your activities, whatever the case may be.
And you have to, and I like how you say this, everybody's brain works differently when it comes to organizing, right? And systems. So
Mhm.
what I recently did, interestingly enough, is I said to my parents, I said, and they're doing well, but I said, we should know, somebody should always know the medications you're taking. Like my husband knows what I'm taking. And
Right.
so I created a Google document.
There you
And
go.
one of the tabs is the health history because we have some history of breast cancer and prostate cancer. And then they shared that with my children so they have their history. And then
Yeah,
but I just did
perfect.
that. I just thought to do it. And then I made a shared Google document with my parents so that we could all put our list of medications. If God forbid somebody ends up in the
Absolutely.
hospital, I don't know what they're taking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what
Oh,
you're
that is
talking about.
excellent,
Wonderful.
excellent.
Yeah.
And we highly, highly recommend it
Yeah.
for all people,
Uh,
but definitely for those that are older. You want people to know if something happens, you fall and or you're unconscious or I don't know, whatever the case may be, that it's like, oh, the only person that knows it is the person that can't answer the question, about what medication.
Yeah.
So
True.
yeah,
And on
yeah.
a lighter note, I love that you put when we were talking, putting it to talk about Also, your recipes. And I'm going to tell you, I found
Oh,
my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, I have a recipe box in their handwriting, all the
oh,
recipes, so that the holidays we can make. My mother-in-law's favorite kugel is a thing, that we make for a holiday. So I mean, so on a lighter note versus the medication and the heavier
Yeah,
doc,
exactly.
you know, what's think about you just made me think about like what's one of the favorite things we have at our Thanksgiving meal or at a certain holiday, and make sure your kids have that recipe, right?
yes,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
Now that's a fun thing that's
Yeah.
easy to pass on that doesn't take up space.
Yeah.
Right.
It becomes, traditions that you have. But
Right.
yeah, definitely document your recipes. It's easier to go to, and if someone wants to replicate that in your family, it's there. And or if somebody's helping you, let's say you decided that you are going to hire help, and you're going to have someone come in and
Cook.
make,
Yeah.
meals 3 times
Mhm.
a week or something. And you're like, these are like my favorites. It's like,
Yeah.
here you go. This is the recipe. This is how you make it. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's all set.
I love that. I love that.
So
So you want to simplify your life, you want to declutter your belongings, you want to create systems. And let me just tell you that in our show notes below, you will find links on how to contact Cris and Marisa if you get stuck on systems. If you can do the simplifying, the declutter, but you need systems, and trust me, we all probably could use a little support in simplifying decluttering as well. But please use the links below to contact Cris and Marisa. Their website is great. Your website's great. I
oh,
love your
thank
website. You do share a little bit of your story there
yeah.
about how it's
Yeah.
in your DNA. I remember reading how it's in your DNA. So check out the website. And I mean, so many great tips. So everybody always hears me say, I want our audience, my goal of every episode is our audience takes one tip away. So I know there's one tip here that you can take away. And I have to tell you, I like to prioritize and do what you enjoy most. Like that's making me feel like I really want to sit, like that's something you can revisit every month because we can get totally off course. But here's the other thing. You can't get out of Beyond Empty Nest without a dare. So we're going to give the audience a dare. I know what we talked about. Do you remember what we talked about your dare was?
Yeah. How about dare to let go and live with less?
Let
Dare
go
to
of
let
things.
go
Yes.
and live with
Let
Just
go of
let
things
go.
and live with us.
Yeah.
Yes.
dare to let go and live with less. Pare down. That's
Yes.
carry Eddie, pare down. So dare
There-
to let go and live with less. And you know what you could do? That's a lot of fun, everybody. You could take a picture of whatever it is that you're going to like maybe pare down and maybe share it with us on social
Oh,
media.
that would
Oh
be
my God.
so
Yeah.
great. So
Yeah.
great.
Send it to me. My email's below. Share it on social media. I'll make sure that Cris and Marisa see it. Absolutely. So your
Those
dare.
before and
Yeah.
afters are great. The before
Yeah.
and
Oh my
afters are
God, the
great.
best.
It's rewarding for yourself, obviously, but
No, you're
it's
going
fun
to,
to share with others like, hey, I was able to do this
you
with this
inspire when
care.
you share. First of all, we get to celebrate you. You get to celebrate you and you inspire somebody else who
Right.
doesn't believe that they can do it.
Yep.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
dare
Exactly.
to let go and live with less. Marisa and Cris, thank you so much for joining me. I really
Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
Shelby. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. We're
Yeah.
hopeful that it will give your audience some inspiration
Yeah,
to move forward, even if it's baby steps. So
Exactly.
absolutely. Definitely connect with Cris and Marisa on social media. Check out their website. All the links are below. And as I always say, everybody, dare on. Thank you for listening to this episode of Beyond Emptiness. Head over to jodysilverman.com for full show notes, more information, and additional resources. Speaking of additional resources, I've got a great one for you in the show notes below. So if you've enjoyed today's show and are ready to embrace this midlife chapter, then you're going to want to grab our featured resource called the Self-Talk Cleanup Challenge. You may not think so, but to quote our friend Oprah, the one thing I know for sure is that negative self-talk and thoughts are what's keeping you stuck in fear and lacking confidence to take the leaps in midlife that you desire to take. When you grab this resource, you'll receive the exact exercise my first coach took me through. It's simple, yet powerful. In addition, I'll send you a few other tools and tricks to help you knock out the negativity when it shows up, thereby increasing your confidence and your overall happiness, allowing you to have fulfillment and fun in midlife. You deserve it. So go ahead and grab your copy of the Self-Talk Cleanup Challenge, and I'll see you next Thursday. Until then, they're on.